Do you live and breathe the beautiful game? Dream about the biggest soccer moments?
Or maybe you just want to hear some unfiltered takes from real fans like you.
Welcome to Futbol Unfiltered, where the passion for soccer knows no boundaries.
Meet your panel, Carl Phillip, JD, Yunel, and Coach. From the world's biggest matches to those unforgettable moments that made us fall in love with and the rising stars shaping soccer's future, you'll find it all here. Join us every week for Futbol Unfiltered, the bilingual soccer podcast that speaks your language, your passion, and your love for the game. Futbol Unfiltered, where soccer's heart beats louder.
All right, good evening. Welcome to another edition of Futbol Unfiltered. I'm your host, Carl Phillip. Tonight I have with me JD after a long hiatus. He's back.
Can you hear me?
Back. Also, I have Alain. Alain, how are you today, man?
Good. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you good.
Awesome. I'm great. Hey, JD.
What's up?
Good.
JD, I like the hat you rocking, man. It's the Haiti hat, right?
Yeah, that's from the Federation. Yeah, the national
All right,
team.
tonight we have a great show tonight. We have a lot of topics to cover. Obviously, the European Major League just ended. Today was the last day, so we got some winners. Obviously, whenever you have winners, you also have disappointed teams. So we're gonna talk about it. Who we think was the most disappointing team. Also, we're gonna look at who gave us the best joy when we watched the team that gave us the best joy this year. We're gonna kind of talk about it. Also, yesterday we had the Champions League women's final, so we're gonna do a little recap on that. Obviously, we have the Champions League men's final next weekend, so we have a pack episode tonight. So let's get started. So we have the winners. We have a couple winners. All the leagues are open or closed now. So La Liga, Barcelona was the winner of the La Liga, the League One. We have PSG was the winner of the League One. The EPL was Liverpool. In Portugal, Sporting Lisbon won over Benfica. And Serie A, we had Napoli also won it over Inter. So, and Bundesliga, we have Bayern. That was the first trophy ever of Harry Kane. So, let's talk about those winners. So, who were the surprise winners in those major European leagues? Let me start with you, JD.
Yeah, definitely. I think this year, when you look at the cups in those major leagues in Europe, it was apart from PSG and Barcelona, we have a lot of surprises. For example, Crystal Palace in England winning their first ever major trophy for the last 123 years. That was a big surprise. And Stuttgart in Germany winning the cup. That was a big surprise. In Italy, Bologna winning the Coppa Italia after more than 50 years. That was a big surprise. And also in England, you have the EFL Cup. Newcastle, after 70 years, that was their first cup. So for me, those were the big surprises in those different leagues, the cups. But as far as the leagues, Barcelona, I think they dominated the season entirely. So for me, it was not a big surprise. And PSG as well, Bayern Munich, they just had the lapse last year when Leverkusen won it. But basically, in the leagues, there were no big surprises, I would say. But in the cups, yes, definitely.
So what do you think was your biggest surprise winner, Ali?
I think for me was Napoli in the Serie A. I didn't expect them to be even mentioned, honestly, guys. I mean, I wasn't surprised about the Barcelona, the Liverpools, the Bayern. I think we felt pretty good about those teams throughout the year, but
Yeah.
Napoli for me was had a massive comeback, right? And then I was doing some research on it. Antonio Conte is the manager, and I remember this guy playing the World Cup, against Zidane back in the days. I don't know if you guys remember. So it was like, oh wow, this guy is a manager, and then he did a phenomenal job. And honestly, the last time I heard of Napoli is when Diego was playing back in the days. So for me, keep in mind, I'm a soccer fan, right? And I'm seeing Napoli being back, and I know we're gonna talk about other disappointments later on in the show. But there was this rivalry between Napoli and AC Milan back in the days, and
Yeah.
and see those guys, wow, still being competitive in 2025 was quite astonishing for me. So kudos to those guys, kudos to Conte for doing a great job, and I hope to hear more from them next year.
Yeah. Believe it or not, my biggest surprise was Barcelona. So I did not think, let me put it this way. I did not think that the team was very young. I did not think that they would turn it around so quick and be that dominant this year. So I think that going into the season, it was Real Madrid season to lose. Obviously, you got the year that they had last year with Vini Jr. And then you add Mbappe on that squad. So it was. I mean, everything was written for Real Madrid to just take over and dominate the La Liga. So and then you see the way. If you remember the way Barcelona ended the season, and it was purely chaos. I mean, Xavi was supposed to return, and next thing you know, he had to leave. So, and then you have this young team coming up. I mean, Rafinha had a terrible year last year. Lewandowski was not playing to his level. So for me, I did not think that Flick, especially be a first-time coach, would turn that team around that quick. So for me, I thought that was a surprise winner for me. And not the fact that they won La Liga, but the way they won it. They scored the most goals in all Europe this year. So for me, that's me. I thought that Barcelona was the surprise winner for me because, like I said, everything was written for Real Madrid to just strictly dominate La Liga, especially they finished the year last year.
Yeah, I think if you look at it from that angle, I can say yes. We can say the same thing for Liverpool in England. They have a new manager and they were able to clinch the Premier League. But yeah, I would agree. One thing I wanted to say, Alain, Napoli actually
One
recently,
2 years ago.
2 years ago in 23, they won the.
Hmm.
But you're right, it's not the team that we expect, and especially this year the way they started that season, they sold their best players to PSG during the winter mercado, and they still able to build a team. That was a season everybody to enter. Milan was about to do a treble actually, and then Napoli coming from behind with Conte, like you say, it's a great manager
Hmm.
and able
Yeah.
to clinch the title. By the way, that's his for Conte. It's like it's almost like it's a trademark now because he did it with Chelsea, he did it with Juventus in his first year to win the league, and do it with Napoli. Very great coach. I like his style. That 3-5-2. I think he's the best. He reminded me a little bit of Cholo Simeone, but
Hmm.
but more pragmatic, more a little bit more offensive. So definitely, a great manager that I think he deserves more respect in the world of soccer as one of the greatest coaches. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. So I think the question is for viewers. You guys, this is a live show. It's real talks, real stuff. So if you guys want to chime in and see and tell us who was your surprise winner, please drop a comment. We'll be able to see the comment live. So feel free to drop a comment and let us know, in your opinion, who was the surprise winner in those major league European leagues. All right, now that we talk about the surprising, right? Let's talk about the team that we thought was very disappointing this season. And I'm not talking about the domestic league. I'm talking about in general. Who are the team that you thought that were the most disappointing teams this season?
Oh, definitely Real Madrid. You have to, like you mentioned in the beginning of the season, on the back of what they did last year, everybody with Mbappe, they were going to beat everybody and win everything. But unfortunately, it's almost like a season without trophy. They had 2 trophies early in the season, but when you think about the Champions League, La Liga, and the Copa del Rey, that was very disappointing, especially when you look at what some of the players, the form that they played last year, like Vini or Rodrigo and
Jude Bellingham.
Jude Bellingham, they just, it's not the same performance this year, and I think that was very disappointing. I think other teams that definitely that disappoint. I think Aston Villa for me in England, they I thought they were gonna make it again to the Champions League, but unfortunately today they fell short to do that. And Arsenal, which is a very constant, every year is the same. It's almost the same expectation. We expect that team to do better, and then it didn't happen. So for me, and of course, I would not say disappointing team, but almost for me, Manchester United. They continue to have their bad series after Sir Ferguson. So for me, that was one of the disappointment of the season. Also,
anything you want to add, Alan?
Yeah, of course. I think I will respectfully disagree with Joe about Real Madrid. I think Madrid had a good season overall, right? I think they were simply outcoached by a better team, by a better coach, and by a better team when they played those key games. They still had a pretty strong record if you compare their numbers. You had Mbappe. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think he's the best scorer in Spain this year. So you cannot say that he had in Europe.
Yeah.
So you cannot say that he had a bad year. I think simply Barcelona was just a better team. I think Real Madrid had, they need to work on their defense. I think maybe if they didn't make those mistakes, it could have been a different game. I think they lost that Liga by a couple of games. If not, correct me if I'm wrong. So I think they were right there. Yes, of course, when you have so many superstars on a team, you expect them to perform better. But we expect Mbappe and Messi and Neymar to deliver also, right, when they were playing at PSG, and that never happened. So I will say my biggest disappointment, I agree with Joe, Manchester United. The simple reason is that when I think about Manchester United, I think of a strong reputational team, a strong brand in England. And when I look at where they ended the year, it was like, what's going on there? It's like consistently year over year, they keep failing to meet expectations. And I think that's quite disappointing. So I agree with Joe there. I think also Atletico Madrid, I feel like they're always right there trying to compete, and they were not able to really perform well in the Copa del Rey, in the Champions League. And then my team of always, AC Milan, I was expecting them to perform better. But sounds like they had pretty good players on paper, but were not able to capitalize on that also. So I will say,
got hurt, man.
Was that
Captain America got hurt?
Yeah.
Yeah, but so that's the world is like, it's like the Warriors. Curry gets hurt and then you can't perform.
Hey, Yeah,
You know,
he was having a good year until he got hurt, and then he was out for a couple of times. But yeah, keep going.
yeah.
One thing,
Sorry.
right, Alan?
Yeah, so pretty much I would say like those are the key teams, right? Again, when you guys maybe have more in-depth analysis than I have, but for me, it's like those key teams I think about when I think about soccer in Europe, those big clubs, big names, big history. I think they kind of failed to meet expectations this year.
Yeah, I think one thing I wanted to add is Manchester City. Kind of the
Yes.
story as Real Madrid, a lot of injuries throughout the season, and they failed to meet expectation. But I think it's one of the team, yeah, we can add to that list of disappointed team.
Yeah, and I think when it comes to those teams, especially Man City, I mean, when you've been winning the EPL for like 4 years in a row, so the expectation is, you expect to win every year. So every time you don't win it, it's a disappointing year. Uh, uh, Real Madrid. I think where I see Joe coming with Real Madrid is they did not win anything this year. So I mean, they went zero. I mean, they
I mean,
didn't they didn't win La Liga, they didn't win La Copa del Rey, they didn't win the Super Copa, they didn't win
at
the
least,
Champions League.
at least they get the intercontinental
Yeah, but when you think about it,
Super Copa in Europe. There was another team, but they got those trophies early, and like you mentioned,
yeah, and
yeah,
then you lost to your rival
yeah,
four times. Four times.
yeah.
I mean, they were like they give. I mean, Barcelona give Real Madrid cat company. You know, I mean, 0-4, cat company, 0-4, man. So just I mean, but uh, not to dwell. I think you guys made a good point about the team. Like for me, the team, even though they won the EPL, for me, the team that was kind of disappointing is Liverpool. Because I remember a couple months ago in this show, we were talking about Liverpool being the best team in Europe. I mean, they were the most consistent team. They were the best team in Europe. And then to see how they,
I think PSG proved us wrong.
yeah. So, so for me, I just like, and I think if they didn't have such a strong advance over the other teams, they could have it could have gone the other way, with Liverpool. But the thing is, I think they built a good momentum early in the season, so that's why they were able to finish up the season really well. But I agree with you with AC Milan. A lot of potential, but did not pan out. Also, Atletico Madrid. It's just like for me, Atletico Madrid. You feel like they can't get over the hump. I mean, and I feel like Cholo Simeone. He needs to kind of evolve a little bit from a coaching standpoint. You can't just every year you just play one way, and I mean, you only won one time. I mean, so at some point you have to evolve as a coach and start doing things differently.
But yeah, if I may,
But I would not say that it was a disappointment for him because I did because nobody expected Atletico Madrid to win the treble, right? So I think from the soccer pundits, they didn't expect Atletico Madrid to win everything. Obviously, the team that they were expecting to win everything was Real Madrid, right? Because of the addition of Mbappe and also with the season that they have last year. So let's the segue for the next topic. So we talk about the most surprising teams. We talk about the most disappointing teams. So let's talk about the most entertaining team this year. So in your opinions, who was the most entertaining team this year? So I'm gonna start with you, Alan, since you kind of give me a little smirk here.
Yeah, I think you're gonna love my answer. Definitely Barcelona. I think they were the most entertaining team because they have the best player I think in Europe right now. I think Lamine Yamal He's a youth star. He's becoming an offensive juggernaut, an engine. He's becoming the name of the team. I mean, 17 years old. If you look at the key games during the European Championship, what he's been able to do this year, it's just simply amazing. I think if you don't have him on the field, you will actually feel his loss, right? His presence, I think, is detrimental, is essential, is key to Barcelona, and that makes Barcelona unique. I'm quite disappointed that they didn't make it to the final. I think that would have been a great final, to be quite honest, at least for the sport. As a fan, I want to see great soccer. I want to see that kind of energy and that kind of chemistry. I think he makes all the players around him better, including Opina. So I will say definitely for me, it was a great discovery this year to see that team play together and be able to accomplish what they were able to do. And again, it's quite unfortunate they didn't make it to the final this year for the Champions League.
JD?
Oh, for me, definitely it's PSG. PSG, the way they improve throughout the season. Like you mentioned in the beginning, Liverpool was very entertaining, but they kind of slowed down in mid-season. But PSG has improved a lot, and definitely, like you said, Alan, Barcelona, they play really good football. I think those two teams definitely, for me, they were the most entertaining team throughout the season. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And every point that you guys mentioned were right on. Especially when you're looking at a player like Lamine Yamal, the way sometimes we have to remind ourselves that he's only 17 years old.
Yeah.
This guy's not even 18 yet.
Yeah.
So I mean, he cannot vote. He cannot vote yet. So he's only 17, right? So and then to think about that in 10 years, he's gonna be it will be only 27,
Yeah.
right? So, but at the same time, I was just watching a show earlier today when Ansu Fati, he started at 16 years old, and then he started that way so fast at 16 years old, and then he was playing really well to the point that they gave him the number 10, and then next thing you know, injuries start happening, and then now nobody's talking about Ansu Fati. So. And then when you look at it, I don't even think he's 21 yet. He's probably barely 21 or 22. So we just hope that Lamine Yamal stay grounded, he stay humble, and then he stay injury free. Because I don't care how good you are, when you start having some bad injuries, I mean, there's nothing you can do. I mean, it happened to the best. Like think about it, R9, Ronaldo, R9. He was the greatest thing we've seen, and injury happened, and then nobody's talking about him as to talk about how great he was. So you're right. I mean the way Barcelona play, not even Lamine Yamal. I mean, when you're looking at Pedri, the way he played, the way he was, he was leading the team in the midfield. Rafinha had a great year. He was very entertaining. He was very good as well too. And when you're looking at Balde and Kunde, those guys had like tremendous year as well too. So yes, you guys are right. And I like PSG, and I like the fact that Ale is rocking his PSG shirt. But PSG played really well, and Dembele had a great year. So I think that we'll see what happened in the final. It should be. I think they should looking at Dembele as one of the guys that for the Ballon d'Or as well too, because he did a really good job with PSG, and a lot of those games, especially against Liverpool. I mean, it was the Dembele show against Liverpool. So he played really well, but those days. So yeah, I agree with you guys. Liverpool at times were very entertaining, especially early in the season. They played very good soccer. So that's another team that I thought that was very entertaining this year. And even okay, we can say all we can say about Real Madrid, but they were entertaining as well too, right? I mean, I mean, with
I
Mbappe,
don't know why we're bashing Real Madrid because they didn't win
yeah,
anything
that's
this
what I'm
year.
saying.
They played.
No,
They got beat by a great team. That's
I
all.
don't think we bashing. I don't think we bashing Real Madrid. It just like when when you lose to your rival like 4 times, they didn't even have a tie. They
Mm.
lost all 4 games, but like I said, they were very entertaining. I mean,
Uh,
when Mbappe and Vinicius Jr. when they were on, Real Madrid was on. So uh, so I thought they were entertaining at times, but I agree with you guys. I thought that the most entertaining team in Europe this year was Barcelona, just the way they play.
mhm.
And that series with Inter will probably be the best series that we've seen in soccer in a long time.
Yeah.
I mean,
mhm.
those games, the home and those 2 games were very entertaining. It make us proud to be soccer fans. I mean, not that we saw a lot of goals, but the pressure, the anticipation and the pressure and the way they play. I mean, for Inter to score at the last second of the game, to take the game to overtime and then to win the series in that fashion. I mean, I thought that was the most entertaining 2 games that I've seen in a long, 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 long time. So good. Anything else you guys want to add?
No, I think definitely you're right on, and it was a very entertaining season with those different leagues, and I think like Alan mentioned, for me, Yamal is the best player in the world. You know, it's even though he's 17, we're talking about a teenager. But if you think about one player that can keep you on your couch for 90 minutes or plus to watch a game this season, it has to be Yamal. So
Mhm.
I think definitely he's one of the contenders for the Ballon d'Or, alongside with Dembele, Mbappe still, because he's playing for France in the Nations League and also the World Cup. So definitely, there's a chance for him to win that trophy, and then yeah. So I think it was very entertaining season. Yeah.
Yep. So Real Madrid still have another tournament they gotta play. They still have a chance to win a trophy this year in the FIFA
The third.
in the FIFA World Club. So we're gonna talk about it a little bit later, but we gotta give the women some love too, guys. I think a lot of times we want to focus on the men's team, but yesterday we had the Champions League women final between Arsenal and Barcelona. As a matter of fact, that was a back-to-back final for Barcelona because they play against Lyon last year, and then they beat Lyon last year, and then now they were back again against Arsenal. So
Yeah.
so that was the score. Arsenal beat them 1-0. So JD, what
Mhm.
was your take on that game?
I was a little bit disappointed because Barcelona, especially in the first half, they dominated possession, almost 80% possession, but they couldn't put the ball in the back of the net, and that's so sad. And for me, I think they deserve to win the whole thing, but Arsenal kept their composure on the second half and were able to keep that result. And I think overall, if you look at it, Barcelona was the team to beat again this year, and I'm glad Arsenal, after 18 years, they were able to get their second Champions League. But overall, I think I still have a bad taste because I think Lyon this year was a great team, especially with the Haitian sensation Melchi the morning. And it's so sad that because on the first leg of the semi-final, they were able to beat Arsenal in London 2-1. But going back to Lyon, that was a different team, and I have to put it on the coach because there were some changes that I didn't understand, and unfortunately they lost to Arsenal, and congratulations to Arsenal, but it's still a bad taste. I think Lyon could have gone all the way and win that trophy.
Ali, you got anything you want to add to about the game yesterday?
Yeah, I agree with Joe. I was a bit disappointed that you didn't make it to the finals. I think that was going to be a greater story and again make a bigger case for Melchi to win the Ballon d'Or, because ultimately that's all I care about personally, that she wins it, not because she's one of our fellow countrywomen, but because I think she's one of the best players in Europe. Period. For what she's done. That being said, let's give credit to Arsenal. I think they were able to withstand the attacks from Barcelona. Barcelona was unable to capitalize on many actions. I was looking at some of the highlights and part of the game. There were some missing opportunities. The balls were not really going in as designed, and so they lost. It could have been 2-0. There was a goal that they took away from Arsenal, and I was going to ask you, Coach, what was the rationale behind it? Was it because it was a self goal from the defender? But if you consider those factors, I think it was Arsenal's day, and that's why they won. Pure and simple. They were able to find the opportunity, score, and held on.
Yeah. So yesterday was the perfect example as why the game can be a cool game at times. So it's not about who looks the best or who played the best soccer of the day. It's the most realistic team, right? And at times the best team also win the games, and that's what we want as fans. But yesterday it was one of those situations that like Joe said, I think Barcelona wasted the first half. They had a lot of opportunities in the first half to kind of take the lead, but they couldn't capitalize on them. Like you said, Al, they could not capitalize on them, and Arsenal made him pay. So and that's that's the nature of the game. So if you don't score, you get scored on. Right? That's the nature of the game. You don't score, you get scored on. I mean, we still got to give him credit because making it to back-to-back finals, it's not an easy feat. So they did it, and so you got to give him credit. And they're a good team, but unfortunately, yesterday was not their day. So it was Arsenal day. So we got to give Arsenal all the credit, and they deserve to win it too, right? So. Everybody could say what they can say about Barcelona not capitalizing, but we got to give credit to Arsenal. They did what they were supposed to do. They played some great defense yesterday. The keeper made some good saves as well too. So to keep him in the game, so they deserve to win. So now let's talk about next week. We got Allen rocking his PSG shirt. Let's break down that game. What you guys see, and I'm not going into the prediction yet. I'm looking at from a holistic way, and when you see those two teams enter and PSG, what screams at you when you're looking at those two teams?
Honestly, for me personally, I'm gonna go first here. I see France against Italy, and Italy is a very dangerous team. You should never undermine that team because they're really good at playing defense. They're really good at throwing your offense off, and they do a lot of counterattacks, right? And that's where, like, I'll wait for you guys to talk more about this, but I feel like Inter Milan is more of a threat, I will say, to PSG than PSG is for Inter Milan. Yes, they probably have a better offense, I will say, but I will not go into that game and think it's a guaranteed win for PSG. Um, Seeing how those guys played against Barcelona and how they won that game, that's a game that Barcelona won. The last game they played, it was a game that there was no reason that they were going to be back from it, right? But they were able to hold on, equalize the game, and won at the end. That tells me that this is a team that is driven. They have a strong culture. Their mental capacity is to the roof. And I feel like they are very, very dangerous and aggressive. So it's a team that you should be really afraid of and not take for granted.
JD?
Yeah, I think it's two different styles of play when you take PSG and Inter Milan. On one side, you have PSG, which is a team that plays with high possession, and they have flair, they have pace, they're very aggressive. Compared to Inter Milan, which is a team that's very, very structured, compact, block, but they have very vertical attacks in transition. So I think it's two different style of playing. For me, I think just watching again yesterday PSG playing the Coupe de France, you can see how the team is well organized. They have those players, Doué, Barcola, Dembele in the front. They can make the difference just by themselves. And now compared to Inter, we play a B-5-2. They're very compact in the middle. I think, like Alan said, you have to be careful. But I would think that PSG has the edge to win the Champions League. But again, like Alan mentioned, it's an Italian team. They're very resilient. They're very tough. And we saw it against Barcelona. So I think it's going to be very interesting to look at those two styles of play. And for me, Enrique is playing Corf, the type of football that he's playing. And it's very beautiful to watch. And Inzaghi, it's more like compact, very solid in the back. So I think it's going to be very entertaining to see those two teams next weekend. I can't wait to watch that game.
So, JD, what got a match alive or football?
No, I'll be here because.
Oh, okay.
I want to. You never know. Let's.
Allez, vous allez causer, baba. Nous va parler, baba. Nous va parler.
No, I was more interested this year to go in the women's final, and actually I was preparing to go to Lisbon for that game, but unfortunately Mel Shijimorne, who I support, didn't make it, and I was very disappointed. But we'll see. Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah, it's gonna be. I hope for a great game. I hope Inter doesn't just fuck the bus and just play defense. I hope they open up the game a little bit against PSG. But at the same time, I think PSG cannot try to. I hope PSG doesn't try to just pass the ball around and be patient. I think they need to be on the attack and then just go after Inter, because Inter can be that team that, if you don't, they're gonna play defense. That's for sure. That's the Italian team. They're gonna play defense, and then they're gonna try to beat you and counterattack. But I don't think it's a mismatch. I think it's a well matched game. There was a lot. I mean, both teams have some great players on them, and I was very, very surprised by the way Dumfries play. Actually, that guy beat Barcelona. He was the reason Inter beat Barcelona, because they had no answer for him. I mean, it was lucky that Balde wasn't playing, so so he had a more offensive play, because I believe that if Balde was playing, he was gonna have to defend more. But I think that because Balde wasn't there, he had more room to open up to have more offensive play on his side. But we'll see. Like I said, it's gonna be a final. Nothing is decided on paper. Come Saturday, they gotta play. Yeah. They gotta play and make plays and make the best team win. So obviously, when you think about both teams, I mean, obviously PSG hasn't won it. as they won it. So obviously everybody would like to see PSG win it one time. Inter won it a couple years, a couple years back when Mourinho was there. That was a long time ago. I think I was 2010. I was back in 2010 when they won it. But they went to the championship final a couple years ago against Liverpool when Liverpool won it. No, not Liverpool, Man City. Man City won it. But we'll see. They made it back. It looks like Inter put all the eggs on the Champions League. I mean, you can tell that they focus is to win the Champions League. Because they dropped some games. Because when you think about it, they end up winning. No, Napoli end up winning La Serie A by 2 points, and there were games that Inter was supposed to win. They just they just lost those games. So you could tell that they focus is purely on the Champions League. So they're gonna give PSG all they can handle. So we hope for a good game. So let's see what happens. So before we go, what's your prediction? Let's start with you, JD. What's your prediction?
Oh, PSG 2-1.
PSG 2-1. What about you, Ali?
I think it's gonna be a really close game, really tied. Could even go to OT. But I'm gonna go for PSG because I was for them since the beginning of this. We started having our podcast, so I'm on Team Dembele. So PSG all the way. So maybe 3-2 PSG.
That's good. That's good. For anybody watching us right now, please drop a comment and give us your your prediction of what the game who's gonna win on Saturday and what's gonna be the score. So we want to make it fun. Let's just have fun with it. All right. So next up, the FIFA World Club, right? So we kind of talk about it. So as you can see, we have Atletico Madrid is gonna be in there, PSG, Bayern, Real Madrid, obviously no Barcelona, Inter Miami, Joe favorite team. I think Benfica gonna be in there as well too. And Inter Milan's gonna be in there too. So I know it started. It started on the first game's gonna be on. The first game gonna be on the 14th, and Inter Miami is starting the whole show.
Yeah.
So what's your guys what you guys think about the FIFA World Club?
No, I think it's the first time we have the format with all those teams, all those clubs, and I think it's good. So you can see the difference between the different regions in the world. And I think Real Madrid, they are the favorite to win it, especially Barcelona is not there. But again, PSG will be there. So I think it's going to be a very good experience for first time. I hope like the fans can show up and make it a great tournament for those teams. Yeah.
Those tickets are super expensive, man. It's ridiculous. So I mean, we're talking about I mean, the average price of like $300-400 a
Yeah.
ticket. That's super expensive when we're looking at average price. But yeah, I mean, like I said, and did you hear that FIFA will allow teams to sign players just for that
Yeah.
tournament?
Yes.
So, like for instance, if the likes of Cristiano Ronaldo wants to play, he can get signed, but for instance, by Real Madrid just for that tournament to play in that tournament.
That would be entertaining to see Messi and Ronaldo competing in the same tournament again. That would be nice.
Yeah. Alain, what's your prediction? What you think? How you think? I'm not looking at from who's gonna win it, but what's your prediction as far as the level of soccer? Do you feel like we're gonna get the best level? Because think about it. I just mentioned two teams, right? That's gonna be playing next week. and 2 weeks later, those guys gonna have to travel to the US after a long season and have to play another tournament in 2 weeks. So, what do you think is gonna be the level of soccer? Are we gonna get the best soccer, or is it just gonna be like a watered down soccer? We gonna get
Yeah.
what's
Well,
your take on that?
I think we're looking at this the wrong way. I don't think it's about, to your point, who's gonna win, who's gonna play or not play as much. I don't think that's the point here. I think you have to look at this from a revenue and branding standpoint and the commercialization of soccer. What is FIFA is trying to do? They have a World Cup in the States next year. That's one more strategy that they're doing to make sure this game becomes a bit more popular and trying to gain market share, I will say, across the country and across the world. So you're going to
Mhm.
have like 32 countries. You're going to have superstars being here. You just said yourself, those tickets are highly expensive, right? What you're going to see the top clubs with the most money actually be able to sign up the best players from smaller clubs, right? So you're gonna see some disparities across the teams. I will say that, but at the same time, it's a great opportunity for a lot of those clubs coming from South America, the CONCACAF, even from Asia, to show what they're all about. So what you're gonna see, I feel like it's more of a display of talent from those other clubs versus a Cristiano Ronaldo or a Messi or an Mbappe. Those guys are already established. We already know what they're worth, and we're not expecting them to, you know what I mean, to be 150%. But what we
Yeah,
want to see is new talent, and what we're going to see next year at the World Cup. So I think at the end of the day, FIFA is going to win, soccer is going to win. I think the fans are going to be able to focus on soccer at least for a month this summer, and I think it's good for the game. For a fan, I'm excited.
yeah, I agree with you. I think first of all, why are we having this show today, right? Is because we love the games. We big
Hmm.
fans, and it doesn't matter if you would have told me that they're gonna have a game in my backyard. I will be excited about it.
Hmm.
That's the way it is, right? Uh, but I agree with you. I think it's a great. I mean, obviously, last year they had the Copa America in the U.S. This is the first time the U.S. is hosting like three major tournaments, consecutively. They had the Copa America last year. They got the FIFA World Club this year, and then they have the World Cup last year. So, couple of things that I see. Obviously, we talk about the price. The price. Expensive the games are, but we got to think about it when you're looking at the from an organization's standpoint. The Copa America was not a success, right? There was a lot of problems, even from the field standpoints. The field were not to regulation, and then Joe can attest with the fiasco that they had in the Champions in the
Final.
final. So I think it's gonna be a good dress rehearsal for the U.S. Looking at from organization standpoint. Especially with everything's going on right now. Have all these fans from all over the world coming into the U.S. To participate. To be part of this tournament. So so one thing happened is, from a tourism standpoint, uh, the U.S. kind of went down this summer as far as the tourism revenue. So hopefully this tournament can have people come, especially in the summer, can have people come to the U.S. because right now I think that in the last couple of months we lost about $2 billion in tourism of people not coming into the U.S. for tourism. So obviously soccer is it's a big game. It's a global game. So hopefully we can have fans coming here, and I think that most of the fans gonna be local fans, like people that live in the U.S. going to those games, than having people coming from you know out of the country to come here. I think they're gonna probably reserve that for next year when the country is actually performing in the World Cup. I think it's gonna be more for us here living in the U.S. going to those games and enjoy those games. So, like I said, there's a lot going on. And you have the FIFA World Cup, and then also we got the Gold Cup as well too, coming up right after that. So, and obviously the MLS is still playing too. So with everything that we got going on in the summer, so what do you think is the most exciting tournament to watch in the summer for soccer fans?
Yeah. I think first we have to think about the nation leagues, the semifinals, France against Spain and Portugal versus Germany. I think it's going to be a great tournament. And then also we have to, like you mentioned, the World Cup, the Club World Cup, and the Gold Cup as well. So, but for me, I think the Nation Leagues last stretch, uh, semifinals and finals will be very interesting.
Yeah, for me, I think honestly, for me, the most exciting tournament to watch for me is the Gold Cup. There's a lot of things that come with that, right? Because obviously Haiti is going to be playing in the Gold Cup, so I like to see how Haiti is going to be performing in the Gold Cup, and also not even from a Haiti standpoint, this is a big dress rehearsal for Pochettino as the U.S. soccer coach.
Yeah.
He has to win that tournament to be in the good grace of the American fan for American fans for the World Cup next year. So this is a great opportunity for him to make a splash. Obviously, Mexico gonna try to win it because they won it last time. So that's another thing that is a great opportunity for Pochettino to kind of put things together. But like I said, we kind of mentioned that early, I think in the early episode of this podcast when we talk about the patience, right? So even though they hire Pochettino, people want results right away, right? They want the U.S. to go far in the World Cup, but they have to be patient. So I think that the Copa America, he was not was I don't think no he wasn't coaching in the Copa America, so that's gonna be his first true test as a coach from a tournament standpoint and see what he's gonna do to get the team ready for for the World Cup next year. But for me, that's the most exciting tournament for me. Obviously, I'm gonna enjoy the FIFA World Club as well too because we're gonna have some big time players playing in that tournament. Obviously, the Real Madrid of the world, the PSG of the world, Chelsea is gonna be there. I think Benzema team's gonna be there as well too. So there's gonna be some good talent. We hope all the good players are still playing. It's not the B team that they're sending to be playing because obviously those guys they need some holiday as well too, right? So because when you think about it, you got the FIFA World Cup and then you got the Nations Cup. So those guys are not gonna have any time off this summer, and they have a long season to get ready. And then next year is the World Cup. So I think there's gonna be some players who's gonna skip that FIFA
Yeah.
World Cup.
Yeah.
I think some players are gonna skip it.
For example, yeah, just to pound that, Pulisic will not play for the U.S. team. I don't think. I look at the list; he was not part of the roster. That
For the Gold Cup, or he's gonna
no, for the Gold Cup, yeah, for the
okay.
US men team, national team, yeah, not just him. I think there's a few players in Europe because of the physical strain. After
Mhm.
and they decided not, or maybe the coach decided not to call them. Yeah,
Yeah.
That's not necessarily a bad thing. So
yeah, I know.
I think he's done his time on the
Mhm.
team. But to go back to what you were saying, Coach, for me, one thing I'm going to look at this summer is the attendance. Um, of those tournaments, right? I want to see crowds. I want to see stadium filled out with people. I want to hear people chant and participate. I think that's for me the biggest indicator of the success level of those tournaments. I think if we could have big crowds, we can have the American people and coming to those games and supporting the sport. I think that will well position the U.S. for next year's World Cup, because what we're doing actually, again, it's about telling America, hey, soccer is here to stay. We're seeing a lot of kids playing soccer now. Now it's a great opportunity to come to those games, support those teams, regardless of who's playing, right? But the world's going to be attending. Let's support the sport as much as possible. So that's something I'm going to look at closely this summer.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. So are you guys planning on going to any of those games?
No,
I would like
definitely.
to go to at least one game, at least if I can. Yeah, why
Which
not?
one, the Gold Cup, or the FIFA World Club?
The FIFA World Cup, if possible, depending on the team. If PSG is playing, maybe. Where they're
PSG
playing.
is playing. It depends where they
Where?
play,
Where they're
right?
playing. It's where they're
Yeah.
playing. Yeah, location. And then the Gold Cup, there's always something unique about the Gold Cup, right? Especially when Haiti's playing, right? There's another sense. So we'll see. Maybe we'll plan something, guys. Let me know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So JD, you got a couple games
Yes.
in
Yes.
the calendar for you?
Yeah. I have actually. I already have my accreditation for the Gold Cup. So there's one game in particular I'm very interested in. U.S. Versus Haiti. That will be in Texas. I think that will be a very good game for the Haitian national team. And of course, for the World Cup club, some of the games will be here in Miami. I expect to be there. Yeah.
Are you planning on going to the first game on June 14th?
Yes, definitely. That's Inter Miami versus, I don't remember the
I think it's Ali Al or whatever.
one of those teams. So yeah, I hope to be there, and if you guys can join, that'll be good too.
All right. So I think that will conclude our show today. So we're not gonna do any memory lane today because we wanted to talk a little bit about what's just been happening in soccer, but we're gonna on the next show we're gonna bring back the memory lane since a lot of people enjoy having it, especially Alex. It's funny that we need to find players. So we need to find players that he can be like, yeah, I watch him play live, because all the players we have to go back and talk to him about YouTube. It kind of
Like 3
kind of
decades
put him
before
on
he
the
was
spot.
born. It's like
Yeah.
crazy.
It kind of put him on the spot and said, hey, man, I don't think you were born yet when he was playing. So anyway, I think maybe the next one we talk about guys who just retired recently, so he can say, hey, yeah, I'll watch him play. But yeah, always fun having you guys. It's always fun. So obviously next say it again.
No, before we go, I send you a picture. Maybe that can be news that we can share with our viewers about Christian Pulisic, Captain America. Unfortunately, not making it to the U.S. men team this year. Yeah.
We'll see. So maybe this is the time for somebody else to step up and play, and then see what's the next big guy is, right? But yeah, like I said, next week gonna be even more interesting because at that time we're gonna have the results of the Champions League final. So it's gonna be an interesting show. So next week we'll have more. We'll be talking more about the Champions League final game, and hopefully we can get a request from Alex who he wants to see in the memory lane. All right, guys. Thank you for your time tonight. It was fun as always. So I'll see you guys next week.
All right.
All right, guys.
All right. Thank you.
Do you live and breathe the beautiful game? Dream about the biggest soccer moments?
Or maybe you just want to hear some unfiltered takes from real fans like you.
Welcome to Futbol Unfiltered, where the passion for soccer knows no boundaries.
Meet your panel, Carl Phillip, JD, Yunel, and Coach. From the world's biggest matches to those unforgettable moments that made us fall in love with and the rising stars shaping soccer's future, you'll find it all here. Join us every week for Futbol Unfiltered, the bilingual soccer podcast that speaks your language, your passion, and your love for the game. Futbol Unfiltered, where soccer's heart beats louder.